Hey everybody, it's me, Bumble Bug, and today I'm going to be showing you how you can make your own Bumble Bug mask. So yeah, let's get right to it. Now obviously first we're going to need materials. So first, get 1 yard of whatever color fabric you want, a foam mannequin head, thread that matches the fabric you got, fabric glue, PC fan mesh, gold puffy paint, and either a gold spray paint can or gold mirror tint. Either one works. But if you don't know how to sew, or you just don't want to sew, then you can buy a black mask off of Amazon. In fact, you can pretty much buy all this stuff off Amazon. That's where I get most of it anyways, so yeah, feel free to do that. Unfortunately, if you don't already know how to sew, I can't really teach you, but you can just watch a YouTube video about sewing, come back, and then you can get to it. And keep in mind, your mask will have to be spandex fabric. It will not work if it's not spandex, so just make sure you get spandex, okay? And if you already bought like a blank mask, then just skip to this time code. Now first, you will need an exact measurement of your head. So, I don't exactly know how. For me, I just took a spandex mask I bought and traced over it with paper. So I got that pattern. If you see it, I think I'm showing it. I don't know. If you saw it, that's how I got my pattern. But for you, you're probably gonna need to lay your head down on a big piece of paper and have somebody trace it out. So, yeah, you're gonna need to do that. Make sure you cut the shape out perfectly. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but it does have to, be the exact size of your head so it can fit on you. So that is what mine looks like. It is a bit messed up, as you can see. I've been using it for a while, but yeah. Now, the next thing you'll need to do is take your fabric, whatever it is, and lay it out flat on the floor, okay? So lay it out flat really quick, and take the corner and put your piece of paper over it. Make sure you leave a little bit of make sure you leave a little bit of space over here next to the mask, or next to the paper thing, so you can have some seam allowance. I'll teach you that as in a bit. Just make sure you follow that. Next, you will need to mark your pattern over the fabric with a marker. Make sure if you're using a darker fabric like me, because all my costumes are made out of darker fabric. It is a gel pen or a lighter pen that can show up on the fabric. Alright, now once you outline your piece of paper on one side, it might be a bit difficult to see, but I do have the entire thing outlined. You want to flip it over so it matches exactly and trace it again. When you're done, your fabric should look something like this. See? The mask is traced and then mirrored and traced exactly on the other side. Alright, now you're going to want to cut it out, but don't cut it out exactly along. You want to be cutting along the seam allowance, or just leave a little extra along the edge of the line, so you can sew. That's where you're gonna be sewing it. Okay? Alright, good. Next step. Alright. Now, once you're done cutting it out, it should look like this. See? There should be a little extra room along the edges. But if there's not, is probably your first time doing this, so totally fine. Alright, next, you're going to want to flip it over just like this, so it's perfectly even. We're going to do this so you can clip it or pin it together, whichever one you'd rather use. I have the entire thing clipped up. Now, you could use pins, you can use clips, doesn't really matter. It only matters if it's easier for you, but I do want to highlight, you do not want to clip this part right here. You also don't want to sew over this. You don't want to clip or sew over this. And you don't want to clip or sew over this bottom part, because this is where your head goes in, okay? Now, before you start sewing, there is 2 things you need to remember. One is to use your zigzag stitch, okay? Do not sew unless you're using the zigzag stitch, because if you use a regular straight stitch, it will pop the seams whenever you try to put the thing on. And 2, make sure you sew on the non-textured sides. You see I'm wearing this velvet spandex? It's kind of like nice and textury. You can really see like colors pop. On this side, it's very flat. This is the texture side. This is the non-textured side, okay? For an example with the gold, you can't exactly see it, but under there is a more matte yellow instead of shiny, okay? So make sure whenever you're sewing, you sew on the non-textured side. So whenever you flip it inside out, it will have the texture. If that doesn't make sense, you can just see, I'm about to show you. Alright, I have the mask right here. Remember, once it's sewed, flip it inside out, and then you can put it on. Now that we're finished with the mask, we're gonna make the lenses. And if you don't know what that is, it's just this part that you see out of. See this? Yeah, we're gonna be making that. This is where you're gonna need your PC fan mesh, your fabric glue, mine's a little low because I've used it a lot, and either gold spray paint or gold mirror tint. If you're wondering what that is, that's like the stuff they put on one-way mirrors so you can see through one side, not the other side. Basically, whatever the light hits is the part that'll be reflective, and the parts in the dark will be see-through, if that makes sense. I'm gonna put 2 pictures of the same costume with each on, and that'll maybe help you decide which one you like better. Now, what you're gonna want to do is draw out the lens shape you want. It can be pretty much any shape. It can be my original Bumble Bug shape, the second one, third one, your own shape, honestly. It doesn't really matter. Just any shape you want. Draw it on this one. Then, once you have the exact shape you want, cut it out perfectly, and then trace it on the other piece of fan mesh. Then, once you have it traced out, make sure you cut it out exactly. Cut out the first one, and you should have 2 perfect-looking lenses that go together. Okay, I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but I do have the exact shape I want drawn. It's easier to see with the dark. Look, this is kind of more reminiscent of that original prototype Bumble Bug costume. I'll put it on screen. Yeah, this is the shape I want. Now we're gonna cut this out. Okay, now, I've cut out the exact shape I want. See? Looks like this. Now make sure, after you cut it out, you do not throw away the extra bits. Okay? Just trust me, don't throw this away yet. Now, we're going to want to take that piece and trace it over the other piece of mesh. Okay? Now, as you can see, finish cutting out my lenses. Shut the freaking door. Okay, I finished cutting out the lenses. This is what mine look like. Yours might look the same, yours might look different. Whichever one looks nice to you. This is my leftover. Now, this is when you're going to need to decide if you want to use spray paint or mirror tint. If you want to use mirror tint, which is a tiny bit more difficult, I'm warning you, then you can just go ahead and throw this all away. You don't need any of that. But if you're going to use spray paint, then you're going to use this to practice spray painting on before you paint on these, because you don't want to, ruin your only lenses. So, yeah. If you're spray painting, again, remember to spray light coats and do drive-by. So, like, holding the can like this, back, forth, really quickly. That should give you the right amount of color, but it won't drown the holes. Because the only reason you're able to see through this is because there's a bunch of holes in it, see? But, yeah. Now, I can't show you how to use it, because I'm going to be using mirror tint. But you got this, bro. Don't worry. I know you can do it. Now, onto the mirror tint. What you're gonna want to do is take the mirror tint, get it on the gold side, or whatever color side you want, and estimate how big the lenses are. You don't actually have to trace them out. Just get an estimation and then cut that square out. Cut 2 of those out. This is going to be one of the trickier parts. You're going to want to take your lens and fabric glue or super glue. Super glue will work on the lens, but it won't work on the mask. So if you want to use that here, it's fine, I guess. But just basically glue along the very, very edge of the lens. And once you have that glued, you just plop this on top of it so that there's extra edge. And I think you still see the lens down there a little bit. But yeah, that's what it needs to look like. You can leave that to dry for like 30 minutes, an hour, and then come back. Oh, and you will want to do that for both sides. Just obviously. As you can see, I've got one of the lenses glued on. Make sure it is completely flat so that this can, have a really nice looking reflection effect. See? You can see my face in the tint. It's pretty cool. Yeah, make sure it's nice and flat whenever you're doing that, and that you glue it onto the right side. As you can see, this is the right lens, and this is the left lens. Make sure you glue them in opposite directions, see? Once you have both lenses glued on, probably just, leave them for a couple hours, maybe a day. Just take a break. I know you've been working really hard. Even if you bought a mask, this is a lot of work, so yeah, just take a break and come back in a bit. Okay, now you want to perfectly cut out your mirror tint off of the lens. I don't know if you can see it very well. There. You want to make sure it's nice and, symmetrical. This one did crinkle a little bit, but that's fine. What can you do about it? This would it doesn't have to look exactly like this. Just make sure you cut the stuff out perfectly, okay? This is what mine looks like. This is easily going to be one of the hardest things to do. Well, not this part. This part's easy. Just take your black mask and put it over your mannequin head. Make sure it is facing the right direction, not backwards. Has to be seamless side on this part, and then, back side in the back, obviously. Now, this is what my mannequin looks like with the mask put on. So you can see the flat side on the front, the part with the seam on the back. See that? It might look like I didn't seam it properly, but it's just black, so it's acting a bit weird. But yeah, this is what it's supposed to look like. You might notice I do have the gold line on it. That's just to help, visualize what it's supposed to look like. Yeah. Now what you're going to do is take your lens and just put it on your mask. See how it looks, where you want to place, because we're about to be gluing it on. I can't really do it with one hand, but you get the point. Just, figure out where you want your lenses to go, how good you think it looks, or even if you want to try again, because if you don't like the shape, there's nothing wrong with it, just, putting it away and trying again. Yeah. After that is done, you're going to glue the lens onto the mask while it's on the mannequin. Now, make sure it's on the mannequin, because if you try to glue the lens on while you're wearing the mask, you will melt your... You'll melt your pupils off, okay? Your pupils will literally disintegrate. Don't do that, please. Okay, I've learned my lesson. You don't want to do that. So, make sure you have a mannequin head. And then glue them on there. Now, before you touch the glue, remember, when you're holding it on the mannequin, you'll have to leave your hand there for 30 minutes for each lens. So you'll have to hold the shape for the glue while it's drying, and then once it's dried, you can take your hand off and do the other one. Okay? Alright. Alright. One full day later, and this is what it looks like. Very nice, as you can see. I make sure the lenses are really nice and reflective. Now, yours probably won't look this clean the first time around, but that's okay. They don't have to. I did wait for a whole day for this to dry, so, make sure you wait a whole day. Congratulations, you got the hardest part done. This is easily the most difficult part, at least for me. But there is one more thing, if you haven't noticed, that we do need to do. The bee in the middle. Yeah, so, this is when you're gonna need your puff paint. Alright, next you're gonna need this. This is puff paint, as I'm sure most of you probably know. Basically, this is how you're gonna get this bee in the middle of the mask. Now, it is a bit difficult, okay? The best thing I can tell you to do is just take some fabric scraps, or if you didn't sew your mask, then just take a piece of paper and just practice drawing with puff paint. It's really not that hard. Just give it a few attempts, you'll get a feel of how it's supposed to be, and then you can puff paint it onto the mask. Right there in between the eyes. Right here. I would tell you to, never mind. Okay, I just finished the puff painting. Now, I did go outside to be easier to see. That's what mine looks like. You may notice it does look a little bit different from my bee, but that's because I did this one to be a little easier. Basically, just build or draw a big head at the top, two tiny antennas that kind of follow the same lines the eyes follow, and a little stinger on the bottom. All you have to do after that is just Sharpie on some lines on the bee. Alright, lines have been drawn on. That's really, I don't think I have to tell you how to draw on some lines. It's really easy. But yeah, now your costume is pretty much done.